Kingdom Come Deliverance is easily one of the best medieval RPG games ever made. It might even be one of the best RPG games in general. It's one of the few games that actually make you feel like part of that world and like all of your actions have some sort of consequences or meaning. I know that a lot of games claim this, and there are some titles that have mastered this aspect of the genre, but a lot of games claiming to be RPG games never really fully embrace the genre and just prefer to include RPG elements rather than go hardcore into it. Kingdom Come Deliverance embraces the genre and offers one of the most amazing and exciting experiences I have ever played.
Scheming, ambitious men, and against these, the valiant who fight for kings and a lady's favor. One stately and stirring event follows another, holding you wrapped in thrill.
One of the best parts of this game is the atmosphere and attention to details. It's honestly insane how much work the developers poured into these areas, and you see and feel it everywhere you go. I mean, literally, even if you're just somewhere out in the woods, Lord knows where, you still feel extremely immersed because of how realistic and amazing it looks. There are very few games where being in the middle of nowhere makes you want to just explore and enjoy this nowhere, as most games don't really use or utilize their open worlds that much. They'll have all the interesting stuff in certain important parts of the map, while the rest is just a wasteland of nothing special. But here it's different, and not only because the woods and nature have a lot of hidden and interesting things to find or experience, but also because of how real it feels. The wooden looks exactly how it does in real life, and simply taking a walk there is so relaxing and atmospheric. A lot of the spots you can find also have absolutely amazing views, especially when the sun is setting or rising. I would also say that this is easily one of the most realistic depictions of nature I have ever seen in a video game. I think a lot of people don't understand how hard this can be, as real-life nature isn't always easy to traverse or pass by, which of course isn't ideal for a video game. So games usually end up spacing trees and bushes far apart in order for you to easily pass. Kingdom Come Deliverance tries to limit this as much as possible. Obviously, player comfort is still important, so they aren't trying to 100% get nature right, but it definitely feels different here. The woods are way thicker and bushes cover the way a lot more, which can be difficult to pass by at night as you barely see anything because of how thick everything is. On the other hand, it also offers more opportunities for stealth and ambushes, be it ambushing bandit camps or other enemies, or them ambushing you. Because the roads are dangerous here, full of bandits, rogue soldiers, humans, or other filths trying to get you. Traveling the world never gets boring because there is always something going on, but not to the point of it feeling overwhelming or too much. The game doesn't blast you with constant random events, it's more spread out and done in a way that feels more random and organic. Whether you're on foot or even fast traveling, anything can happen, which is another cool thing because fast traveling won't stop your character from being attacked on the road or coming across strange events such as a guy looting a corpse of a woman or a murder taking place. Nighttime in this game is also a whole nother beast. The nights are usually dark as hell and you often need a torch to properly see, but carrying a torch means you can be seen from a distance and increases potential danger. The night here feels almost creepy in a way because outside of cities it's really quiet, with the only sounds being that of animals in the trees and bushes. You feel isolated and never know what might be hiding ahead of you.
Now stand aside, worthy adversary. 'Tis but a scratch. A scratch?
However, what really blew my mind were the medieval towns and castles the game depicts. You can see how the developers made an effort to research this time period, and it all feels so authentic and real. Walking around inside a castle is amazing because of how detailed they are. The walls are painted with depictions of battles, mythological figures, or religious saints. There are small chapels that are carefully and uniquely crafted, often having images that tell a story. This has been the biggest highlight of the game for me, as I could just spend hours inside these castles looking at all the details they offer. These castles have period correct layouts, and every room or hallway serves a purpose. It really makes you feel like it's all real and like you are an actual knight or man at arms in the service of a local lord. You start out as a poor blacksmith's son and slowly work your way up to a soldier. The best part of this is how early on you're extremely weak and get your ass beat by almost every random peasant. It takes time to level up your skills and get better at fighting, speaking, lockpicking, and even reading. Because yes, you can't read and you first have to visit a scribe who will teach you how to read before you can use that skill in the world and missions. And this counts for almost every other ability. There's a lot of skills you can learn, and it's totally up to you which ones you want to invest your time in and how you'll use them. You are free to create a unique character that will either focus on a set of abilities or mix them how you like. The best part about this is that you can't just level up every single skill. Some of them don't work together, and the game will warn you that choosing a particular ability will block another one for the rest of the playthrough. That means that you actually have to plan this more carefully, as they will impact your character, his performance in battle, or your interactions with other characters and the various ways you can impact the story. Even though the main story will mostly be the same, there are decisions and minor choices that can result in vastly different outcomes. For example, there is one questline where you have to get some information from a character. Now, you'd think that being able to convince them to help you would be the right choice, right? And it does lead you further in the questline and advances the story. However, failing to convince them actually leads to a whole other bunch of cutscenes and events with said character that might be some of the most hilarious in the entire game. And that's just for this one quest. Others have their own outcomes, and there is so much stuff that you most likely will miss on your first or even second playthrough just because of how detailed and varied the game is in the options it offers you. The main storyline might not change much, but everything around it and outside of it can change drastically. That's one of the best parts of Kingdom Come Deliverance. You have total freedom to play Henry any way you like. If you want to be a noble knight, you can do that. If you want to roleplay a Robin Hood type figure, you can do that. If you want to be an absolute evil bastard with no morals, you can also do that. The game will reward and punish you according to your deeds, but only through the world's and characters' reactions to you. There will be no penalties for being evil in the sense that your skills will suffer, and vice versa. Depending on your actions, the world and people will react to you accordingly. If you run around with a bloody sword or cloth, it will be much easier to intimidate someone or scare them away. On the other hand, if you run around in shining armor, people will address you as a knight and be much more respectful.
Why have you come to this place at this hour?
We have come to do battle for the city of Talaora.
Will you fight to the death, giving no quarter and receiving none?
We will.
Go then, and fight for Talaora.
These things all add to the amazing immersive feeling of the game and make it a masterpiece of a role-playing game. It really does offer an almost unlimited amount of replay value, and you can easily invest hundreds of hours into it and still not be at a point where you've seen or experienced everything. And the best part about this is that it doesn't feel overwhelming or like it's too much. Sure, early on you'll be having a bit of a hard time, but that's a good thing. Just like Henry, you'll be slowly rising through the ranks and become a much more formidable soldier. You will be able to feel that as the game forces you to fight people all the time, be it other warriors, bandits, and mercenaries. I will be honest, it took me a while to get the hang of the fighting system. It seemed confusing as hell and not as intuitive as in other games. It's only after training and also taking part in tournaments that I finally started to slowly understand it, and when that happened, it felt like a switch was pulled and my performance in battles improved tenfold. Once you understand how they work, you also realize that this game probably has the most realistic depiction of medieval fights. I don't know any other games that have such detailed battles, and it's not just with the sword. You can use axes, spears, bows, and longswords. The choice is yours and how you want to dominate your foes.